Hello and welcome to another episode of the Unwanted Opinions podcast. Jay and I are back here on a Thursday, and what we're going to do today is finish out all these divisions that we've gone through. As you know, if you've been following along, listen to our previous podcast, we've outlaid a blueprint for every team in each division. I know the draft has gone by, our mock that we just did. If you haven't listened to that, go check that out so you can hear who we've got mocked. We'll mention that here. We've also done every other division previously, so go back and check those out. We've talked about free agency, stuff like that, so we're just going to try and finish these up real quick so we don't miss anybody's team. So tonight we're doing the NFC North and the NFC South. But first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to our official sponsor, Tempest and Timberstone Homes. They are the largest and most reliable home builder in the greater Lafayette area, so if you're in the market for a starter or a custom home, reach out to them. You can hit them up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, one of their websites, visit one of their model homes, give them a call if you're in the market for a starter or a custom home. Jay, what's up, man?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Loving life.
Yeah.
It's a little rainy outside.
Rainy.
But that means that it's not snowing.
That's true.
Fantastic.
Well, and I checked our weather. I think our highs are like 50 throughout the next 10 days.
Even
in the 50s,
in the
so that's
60s.
better. So I'm good with that.
But a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Supposed to be going fishing on Monday.
But I'm taking rain over snow right now for sure. Yeah.
You and me both.
Yeah. All right, but let's get right into this. Let's start with the NFC North. Let's start at the top with the Packers. They finished 13-3, lost in the NFC Championship game to the 49ers. They own 10 total picks in the upcoming draft, including number 30 in the first round. Then they've got a 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 6s actually, and 2 7s. They've got about $13 million left in cap space. They've already signed Rick Wagner and Christian Kirksey. And you heard who Jay and I had them mocked, and Jalen Reagor, the receiver position. But I still think they need a tight end. I think they could add another linebacker and another defensive tackle to their defense.
Who they just sign at tight end? I thought they signed. I know they let
Jimmy Graham walk.
Yep.
And he actually went to the Bears, and the Bears gave him way too much money.
I agree.
He's
way
a
past
way shell of himself.
Yep. But I thought the Packers signed a tight end. Maybe they didn't.
I don't think
and
they did.
I know they drafted one
because I think they
last
still only
year.
have Jay Sternberger. He might be the only active tight end on their roster because I don't think
I'm
they
sure
re-signed
got
Mercedes
another one
Lewis
that
either.
we just don't know who it is.
I'll just go look right now.
Anyway, I'll tell you
but
my outlook on the Packers are kind of how I felt about the Vikings this year. I was off the Vikings 2 years ago when they signed Kirk Cousins. I thought they were going to be way worse than people thought they were. And then this past year, I thought they were going to be a lot better, and they just didn't get over that hump. This year, I was down on the Packers. Yes, they went 13-3, but I wasn't really.
You were never sold on them all year long.
And
Okay, Jay Sternberger, Mercedes Lewis, Robert Tonyan, and Evan Bayless.
So, yes, they need a tight end.
So they need a tight end badly. But go ahead.
I don't
Keep going.
think their 13-3 record indicated that they were that good of a team this year because, to me, like you said, I was never sold on them, and then they kind of flamed out in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
This year, I think with the additions they're going to make, I actually think they take that step forward. Surprisingly, I think their record they'll have a worse record next year, but I think they'll be a better team and create a lot more havoc come playoff time.
I mean, I think out of 9 of their 16 games, they were like one-score games, so those 13 wins easily could have been 6 or 7. And now, obviously, they were better in a 6 or 7 win team. But I agree with you. I don't think they're 13-3 next year, even though I think their division kind of got a little worse depending on what some of these teams continue to do over the draft in the offseason because Vikings have lost a lot of guys. The Bears still don't have a quarterback, and the Lions are the Lions. So I still think the Packers are the best
better
team.
with Trubisky, or do you think better with Foles?
I don't even know. I think they're very similar with each of them.
I would give the nod to Foles.
I think they're a max 10-win team. And that's strictly
Agreed.
based off of how good their defense is because I still don't think their offense is very good. I would probably give the edge to Foles, but it's not much.
No. Agreed.
I could see
just
him anywhere
didn't
6-10 to 10-6.
Okay. So,
But
for
anyways,
the
Packers, I think it's this Packers division to lose next year. I still think they're the best team.
we haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round.
Yep.
Whether it be Rager or whoever you want to, Justin
They
Jefferson.
just need
or,
somebody. They need
yes,
more
T.
weapons
Higgins,
for
someone
Rodgers.
there.
Another guys who can beat one-on-one coverage besides Devontae Adams.
Did they just sign a wide receiver in free agency?
They picked up Devin Funchess.
But
But,
from
I
the
mean,
Colts.
if you're really counting on Devontae Adams and Devin Funchess,
You
still need somebody else. You need some more guys.
A quicker guy.
Yes.
Those two are both outside receivers.
Absolutely.
So,
And, I mean, like you said, they lost Jimmy Graham, so maybe Funchess, they view him as the red zone kind of big target guy. But I still think they need a vertical tight end because Rodgers, I mean, when he had Jermichael Finley, in his heyday was really good.
If the dude could just
with
consistently
Rodgers.
catch the ball, if he had natural hands.
I mean, he made guys like Richard Rodgers look fantastic. Aaron did.
He was modern day Eric Ebron. Had all the athleticism, made catches that you wouldn't even believe were realistic, and then drop one right in his hands.
Yeah, that Rodgers would put right in between his numbers. He
They
would
are
just flat out drop it.
very identical tight ends.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I think I like the signing of Rick Wagner. I mean, him and Balaga, I think, are pretty similar guys, and he got Wagner for cheaper. I like the Kirksey signing, but like I said, I think they need some more beef up front because they were bad in the run defense last year. I think they were 29th. So
they didn't get what we thought they'd get from Rashawn Gary. Maybe he takes a step forward this year. They put a lot of money and resources into that defense last year, and at the beginning of the year, they looked fantastic.
They were like a top 10 defense through the first 6 or 7 weeks.
And then as the season kind of went on, they got exposed in that run defense. Sure. So I could definitely see them maybe they shy away from receiver in round 1 and go some defensive tackle there, like Neville Gallimore that we like, or Rashard Lawrence from LSU, or just some bigger body.
Or shit, I mean, if one of those really
good. I don't see Kinlaw or Derek Brown.
No. I meant linebacker. If like Patrick Queen or Kenneth Murray somehow slip, or like a Zach Bond from Wisconsin.
True, but I think
him targeting those guys.
I think instantly Kirksey's the best inside linebacker they've had since Nick Barnett,
probably
AJ Hawk, somewhere in a long time. I think Kirksey. They've been missing that inside linebacker position bad, and they tried to fill like Blake Martinez. He's kind of slow,
and he had a lot of tackles, but I think they were really inflated.
Yeah,
because he wasn't.
You never
that good
watched
of a
a Packer
player.
Game and thought, "Damn, Blake Martinez is pretty damn good."
No, he never made that kind of impact.
So I think Kirksey could do that for him, especially if they can beef up that defensive line even more, because they're 2 edge rushers that they signed last year.
Yeah,
they're really good. They're earning
they
those contracts.
Both had plus 10 sacks.
So Darius Smith looked like an MVP defensively last year. So I like what the Packers are doing. I wasn't sold on them last year because brand new offense, brand new first-time head coach. I didn't like their weapons at all. And then their defense was kind of young and unproven yet. I think everybody being in that system one more year, LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers being on the same page again for another year, and that defense just taking a step forward. They're going to fill holes that they were exposed last year, like that defensive line interior and the wide receiver. They're going to fill both of those this offseason, and wide receiver is so stacked. We keep talking about it. They can find someone in round 2, 3, 4.
You can get a good player in round 2.
It doesn't
really
matter.
Good player.
So I fully expect the Packers to take a big leap forward in
I still think Rodgers has got a lot left in the tank. I do. I know he had a little bit of a down year last year, if you even want to call it that. I still think he threw for over 4,000 yards and close to 30 touchdowns. But he didn't look the same at times, but I still think he's got something left.
So don't expect their record. I mean, you can't get much better than 13-3.
Yeah, probably
I expect their record to go backwards again, but I just expect them to be a lot better team this year.
I agree with that.
Which is hard to say about a 13-3 team.
Yeah, but just because I mean, you can be a better team with a worse record. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but I think it's true. And I mean, they're going to have a first place schedule, so they'll have a little bit tougher opponents. So maybe if they go 11-5 or 12-4, but I think they will be better equipped for a postseason run next year than they were this year.
I think they would be a scary 11-5 team in the playoffs next year.
Because you can probably still win this division 11-5. Because like I said, we'll move on to the Vikings now, who finished 10-6. They've lost a lot of guys. I know they've got. I think tied for the most draft picks. They've got 12 total, 2 in round 1, a second, 2 3s, 4 5, 6 6, and 3 7s. So they got a decent amount of compensatory picks. They've got about $12 million left remaining in cap space. But like I said, they lost a lot of guys. They lost Stephon Diggs, lost Xavier Rhodes, Linval Joseph, Stephen Weatherly, Andrew Sendejo. They've lost a lot of pieces.
They're trying to trade their safety that they tagged,
Anthony Harris, because they don't want to. Well, they don't have much money to pay him.
But they tagged him thinking he'd have some big trade market, and they might have screwed themselves there.
Because exactly. You think of the guys they've paid a lot of money to. Kirk Cousins, they paid a lot of money to Thielen. They're gonna have to pay a lot to Dalvin Cook. They paid a lot to Barr, Kendricks, Harrison Smith, Donnell Hunter.
And all these resources they put into their young offensive line, who is starting to perform better than they used to, they're going to have to get paid at some point.
I'm a little concerned about the Vikings. I could see them taking a step back.
Me too.
They lost Stefanski, who I thought was a big part of their offense. I know they still got Kubiak there, but they've got to nail those first two picks in the first round at 22 and 25. They've got to replenish defensive line, corner, receiver, safety if they're trying to trade away Anthony Harris.
They also lost Trey Waynes.
Yeah, they lost Trey Waynes, another one of their corners. So they're relying on Mike Hughes and Mackenzie Alexander, I believe. Or they might have lost Mackenzie Alexander too.
I don't think they did. I think they still have McKenzie.
Okay.
But either
still,
way,
they lost a lot of pieces this offseason. The Vikings
I think their defense is on the decline, and their offense at best will be the same.
Yeah.
So
I
was all over the
Were they
Vikings
like a
last
top
year.
14 offense?
Yeah, I was all over the Vikings last year, and I think I'm getting off of that.
I'm a little more down on them this year.
I'll be on the Packers in the NFC North this year.
I thought they would miss the playoffs last year, just by one game. But now that there's an additional playoff team, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, Brady going to the Bucks. I mean, the Falcons. I think I might talk myself back in. Falcons making a really good run.
Dude.
The Seahawks, the 49ers, I mean, the Cowboys, the Eagles.
Don't sleep on the Cardinals.
The
We talked
Cardinals.
about the Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of
the
good
Rams.
teams in the NFC. I'm a little down on the Rams this year.
Agreed, so am I, but they're still a player. They still have players. They still got Sean McVay. You can't count them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, so I just think the NFC is a lot tougher, and I think the Vikings, I don't want to do our season preview yet, but I'm leaning towards them missing the playoffs unless they have just a killer draft.
I might be as well.
Because
Let's see how they draft.
Because we had a mocked to Yurder Gross Matos, the pass rusher from Penn State, and also Christian Fulton, the corner.
Did we even mention they lost
LSU?
Everson Griffin was another guy they lost?
There's another one. Yeah, so they lost so many starters, man. They've got a lot of needs. And then, we talked about the loss of Diggs, how it's going to affect Thielen. I mean, I think Thielen's going to start seeing a lot more double teams, unless he will, because they'll probably get a rookie receiver in there, but that guy's not going to demand double teams.
Yeah, I think people
Thielen.
believe Thielen's numbers are going to go up because Stephon Diggs left, and I think they'll
either stay the same or go down.
I think it's going to hurt Thielen.
Yeah. So
And
I'm a little worried about
big
Minnesota
Kyle
this
Rudolph
year. I
fan.
am. No, I never have been. And they paid him a lot of money
know.
too, which was way too much money, I thought.
That offense will go as Dalvin goes. And you'll throw Alexander Madison in there too, because he played well when he got his.
And Kirk Cousins had like a career year last year. It's just to see him going to be able to keep this up and keep doing the same. You invest a lot of money in him, so he's paying him like a top 5 guy. So they need him to perform that well. So we'll see. But I'm a little worried about the Vikings, and it sounds like you are too, Jay.
Yeah.
Obviously we just named all the positions they need. There's not really much left in the free agency market that they can even do because of the limited cap space they have. So
I'd be doing my darndest to get rid of Anthony Harris because you don't want to pay him. I'd
try and trade him too. Yeah, because you got to. I mean, their offensive line, I think that's still solid.
Running back solid.
Add another receiver next to Thielen. But then you're just going to be really, really young on defense. You're going to have to rely on your 4 stars on defense, which they're still really good players. Barr, Kendricks, Hunter, and Harrison Smith. So I still think they'll be a tough team, but I think they're on that playoff bubble.
Yep.
Maybe this helps that there's an extra team that gets in next year. But all right, the Bears finished 8-8. They've got 8 total picks. They have no first rounders. They've got 2 twos, one from the Raiders and then their own. They have no money left. They have $1.6 million in cap space remaining because they traded for Nick Foles. They signed Robert Quinn. They re-signed Danny Trevathan. I think they let Prince Amukamara go.
They let Leonard Floyd go.
Then
they signed. Did they sign Quinn?
Yes. Yeah, I mentioned that. They gave him a boatload of money, 5 years, $70 million after he had a pretty good year with the Cowboys, but who knows? And we talked about they traded for Foles. I'm not sure if they're that much better with Foles.
Who had HaHa last year? I thought was he not on the Bears?
I think he went to the Bears. Yeah, I believe he did. And I think the Cowboys just picked him up, but I believe he was the Bears last year. Yeah. Yeah, the Bears, they've got a lot of they got to figure out the quarterback position. Until they figure that out.
I just didn't understand that move. Me and you both were under the impression that the Jaguars would have to give compensation, draft compensation in order for somebody to take Foles'
that contract. Yeah,
and yet the Bears gave up a pick for him.
Yeah, and they didn't have any picks anyways. I mean, they've got a lot of holes still.
And what's Foles' cap hit? Is it like $25 million?
Something like that. And Kyle Long just retired
for that.
On their offensive line. He was arguably the best offensive lineman. That's a huge hole you got to fill on the offensive line now too, and it wasn't great from the start anyways.
I know that they didn't know if Cam would be cut or not, so hindsight's always 20/20. They could have got Cam for Nick Foles' contract. I'm not a huge Jameis fan anymore. I've kind of got off of that bandwagon, but I would take Jameis over Foles
or Trubisky.
Yeah,
absolutely.
they could have got Jameis for easily under
Cheaper than
25 in
that.
my opinion. I just then to give up something to go get Foles boggles my mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the Bears are doing. I've never liked their weapons to begin with.
No, they
I
don't.
think they were
I
always
think Allen Robinson's a
overinflated.
really good receiver, but they have no guy next to him. I think
Tight
they
ends
cut
are
Taylor
trash.
Gabriel.
Taylor Gabriel's no longer on the squad.
Yeah, they overpaid
They're
Trey Burton.
relying on Anthony Miller, who hasn't really done much up to this point in his career. Yes, they overpaid Trey Burton. Their run game last year, I thought they believed that they were going to get a lot out of David.
Well, they didn't. Nagy never ran the ball.
I know.
He made Trubisky throw 50 times a game,
But when he did run, the
No,
running
he
lanes
wasn't.
were not there.
and there was
That
a lot of
offensive
people
line is
saying he
not
was going to
good.
win. No, it's not. And like I said, Long just retired, and he was their best player.
So there's a lot of problems on this. And the two teams in their division, you could say that the three teams in their division, the strength of their defense is their pass rush.
Yeah.
So good luck, whoever's taking snaps at quarterback.
Yeah, I just don't see the Bears. Like I said, I don't think they pick up Trubisky's fifth-year option because why would you? How could you?
I'm glad me and you were both off of the Bears last year when everyone was
Yep,
on them.
everyone was picking them to go.
Still even
11-5,
8-8.
12-4 again.
8-8 even outperformed what me and you thought they were going to do.
I actually think I had them finishing 7-9 or around.
yeah, and I think
around
I had them at
500.
like 7-9 or 6-10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 8-8 was better than what we even both thought, even though everybody else was hyping them up big time. I think they finished
6-10.
with a worse record than they finished with last year.
I do too. I think their defense is just probably as good, but their offense, if anything, took a step back because it's still not good. I just don't understand what they're doing with quarterback. And I texted you this right before we got here and got started recording. I think Cam's going to have just a fucking awesome year. I think that dude's out to prove stuff. If he stays healthy, I think he's really just going to have an awesome season.
So you bring him up because you think the Bears could have utilized
Yes, the Bears
him.
could have absolutely used him. 100%. Because what Nagy needed to do with Trubisky, he didn't, because Trubisky's got a lot of good legs and can run, and he's athletic. He just never did that, and he makes terrible decisions. Cam Newton is a million times better than Trubisky or Nick Foles. I don't care what you say. What Nick Foles did in the Super Bowl with the Eagles, it was awesome. But Cam Newton's a better player. No questions asked. And they could have had him and Jameis Winston. And Andy Dalton's a better option, I think, than either of those guys.
Same.
So I just don't know what they're doing. They are going to be able to get off of Trubisky after this year, and then you bring in Foles, who's still got 3 years left on that deal. Why? Why are you doing this?
It
makes no sense at all.
Bad upper management.
I just don't know. Like I said, they don't have much draft picks. They've got 2 picks in the second round, which I think they need another receiver. They need another offensive lineman. They need another corner now because they don't really have much corner depth. Yeah.
They have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah.
They could
I
probably
like their
go
front
best player
seven on
available.
I like their front seven on defense, but
Khalil Mack trailed off at the end of the year last year too, and I think honestly, I really do believe that he was either hurt or he knew that season was going nowhere, and he didn't want to hurt himself.
and he already got paid.
Yes.
Well, and Akeem Hicks was a big loss for him last year in the middle of the season, but still, I mean, their defense was still really, really good.
It was that offense.
Yeah,
And they better do a lot to
and it's
improve
still
it.
going to be that offense because it just sucks.
They could go. There's probably going to be some good interior linemen where they're picking in the second round,
Mm-hmm.
and you could always
Maybe a
snag
guy like
receiver.
Cesar Ruiz falls to him from
Yep,
Michigan
we
who
talked
can
about
play
Tyler
anywhere.
Biadasz
Play
from
anywhere.
Wisconsin. There's good. You'll have options.
Maybe a guy like a Josh Jones falls in the second round, and they can pick him out to play one of the tackle positions because neither of them are great for the Bears. So we'll see.
TCU has a tackle. I don't remember his
Yeah.
name though.
I don't either. But all right, let's move on to the Lions. Your Lions, Jay's Lions. They're finished 3-12.
They were
and
my
1.
Lions up until the Green
Stafford
Bay
I know.
screw over,
They did.
and I got off of the bandwagon.
Yep. They've got 9 total picks. They own the 3rd overall pick. Jay and I both had them taking Jeffrey Okudah. They got an additional 3rd and a 5th from Philly for Slay, which was a steal for the Eagles. The Lions did not get enough compensation for how good of a player he is. They're trying to sign every former Patriot player. I don't know if Patricia knows what the hell he's doing. I used to be a defender of him, but now I'm kind of off of that train.
Same.
I don't think he's a good coach. I think he's a moron. He tries to
Agreed.
act too much like Bill Belichick and not be his own guy.
And you saw what Slay said about him
Yeah.
when they got rid of Slay.
Oh, he's been bashing him for
Yeah.
a week since he got traded.
So I don't think the Lions are ever going to be good under Patricia. They'll never be.
me either.
They'll never be better than just okay. And here's why I think so. They try and get all of the New England players that New England doesn't want. So right there, you're getting second-tier players to be your starters,
Yep.
and you're trying to do a system of Belichick's, and you're not anywhere near his level of coaching.
Absolutely.
So
not.
you're getting second-tier players with second-tier coaching, and it's never going to work out to where that makes a good team. So as long as this is the formula that they're going with, I don't see the Lions ever being relevant.
I mean, they traded for Deron Harmon, which is fine, but they gave up Quandre Diggs for only a 5th-round pick, and he turned into a really good player for the Seahawks. They gave Jamie Collins 3 years, $30 million. They gave Vitae 5 years, $50 million, which is a way overpay for him at right tackle.
What's he done
Nothing.
to earn that contract?
I mean, he played well for 6 games when the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but then that was it, and he
Last
got
year
paid
they
based
gave
off of
Trey
that.
Flowers monumental
Too much money. Jesse
Yeah.
James, they gave a whole bunch of fucking money to.
Yep.
I just don't really know what they're doing. I don't think they have a plan. I feel bad for Matthew Stafford. I
feel
wish
like
he would demand a trade and ask to get the fuck out of there.
I don't feel like they utilized Hawkinson the way they should have last year.
No, they didn't.
Stafford's been hurt all the past, 2 years?
Because they can't protect the dude.
Exactly. The offensive line is not that great.
He has no running game.
Kerryon Johnson showed flashes as a rookie and then hasn't done shit since then. Well, they still don't have a running game. Their wide receivers outside
They've
of
never
Kenny,
had a running game since Stafford's been there. That's nuts.
Kenny Galladay is a good wide receiver. Marvin
think he's
Jones is a
actually
good
really
wide
good.
receiver. But Amendola, another New England cast
Yeah,
off
they
who is
they
way
re-signed
past his
him.
prime.
Yeah.
I don't know what their game plan is. I'm just off of the Lions. I wish I could write you up a script for them to make the Super Bowl like I did for the Dolphins.
I can't even make you a script for them to even make the playoffs.
They got a lot of work to do. We haven't taken Jeffrey Okudah at number 3, which instantly upgrades your secondary for sure. He's a lockdown corner from day one, and I think he sees what Belichick has done with Stephon Gilmore and wants to do that in Detroit.
And Okudah's that guy.
And
I
he is
think
that
I think
guy.
he can be that guy.
And their front four is pretty good. Their linebackers could use upgrades. Their other corner opposite.
When they draft Okudah.
If they draft Okudah. If they don't, their secondary is ass. So they just have holes everywhere.
You know what I would try and do if I'm Detroit? This is the best thing I think you can do. So, all right, you take Okudah at 3, trade Stafford now. Trade Stafford, get as many picks as you can out of this guy. Tank and try and go get Trevor Lawrence next year because you're going to fucking suck with Stafford or without him because the roster around him is terrible. You just gave I think it's the Ford family still owns the Lions. You said this was the last year for Patricia and Bob Quinn if they don't make the playoffs. They're not even sniffing the playoffs. Trade him away. Let him go somewhere else where he can win because he deserves it because I've always been a fan of Matthew Stafford and I think
Start
he gets
David
unfairly
Blau.
criticized.
David Blau,
Whoever
when
you have a
2
quarterback,
games.
start the guy. You're going to suck no matter what and just lose every game. Try and lose every game. Get a quarterback who you can just build around, get a lot of talent around him, and just try and do it that way. Fire Patricia, fire Quinn, restart the whole fucking thing.
Get picks for Stafford now and throw all of them at your offensive line.
While he's probably at his highest value he's going to be at is right now.
Yep.
Because he's just going to keep getting older.
He's already said Stafford has mentioned he'd like to be in L.A.
Yeah.
Chargers need a quarterback.
Yeah. I don't think the Chargers would give up the 6th overall pick.
No, but I think they'd give up
Maybe a next year's first.
and
or,
this year's second.
Yeah. Something like that. I think they would give up picks for him because they want to win now and they've got a win now roster. So just do yourselves a favor, Detroit, and just bomb this season. Just build for the future because you're going nowhere this year.
There's our blueprint.
Yeah. It's
like
for next
that.
year. It's not even for this year.
Yep. But that's how you get good pretty fast.
Exactly. I mean, they can be. You've seen teams do this before. I mean, what did the Browns do for a while? The Browns are
They
the
tanked
Browns
every
did-
year. They just couldn't
the
get
Browns
their
just
fucking guy. They sucked at scouting.
and they just never draft. They passed on guys like Watson and Mahomes and Wentz, and they just passed on every single quarterback.
And when you have a turnover at your coaching staff every other
Yes.
year, it's hard to be successful.
Yeah. So, like I said, go draft Trevor Lawrence, tank for him, and then get a coach who's quarterback friendly. Build the
Fire
offensive line.
Patricia now.
Yes.
Get you
Yes.
somebody that can be in there so that you're not learning a new scheme
Or-
when you get Lawrence.
Or if you want to do this, keep Patricia there because you'll keep losing with him at the helm. So that'll help your chances at getting Trevor Lawrence even more.
True.
So keep him there. But then you think about it because if you get him in there and start building from scratch, Aaron Rodgers isn't getting any younger.
Nope.
Kirk Cousins isn't getting any younger. The Bears have no plan at quarterback.
They don't know what the fuck's going
So
on.
this could be your division in a few years if you're Detroit.
You just got to listen to us.
I should be a fucking NFL GM, man. I'm going to take over. I'm going to call Martha Ford.
That'd be cool.
All
I'll
right.
run the podcast
Let's-
out of your office.
That's all right. All right, that'll work. All right, let's move over to the South. We'll start with the Saints, who finished 13-3, lost in the wild card round Did you know, Jay, the fun fact for you, the Saints, there's only been 3 teams ever to play in wild card weekend at 13-3, and the Saints have done it twice.
I did not.
Yeah.
Who's the other one?
I don't know, actually.
Well, come on, man. If you're going to come with the fucking trivia, have the answers.
Well, it wasn't really trivia. It was more of a fun fact. I don't know who the third team was, but I'm sure you could Google it. But they lost in the wild card round to the Vikings. They only have 5 total picks, but they've got the 1, 3, 4, and 5, and a 6. So you can still get a good guy at number 24 in the third round. We talked about they signed Emmanuel Sanders, re-signed Breeze, signed Malcolm Jenkins. I think they just extended Janoris Jenkins as well.
Dude, the Saints might be my Super Bowl team this year.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years, like for the past 3 or 4 years.
I
don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of good teams.
After they signed Emmanuel Sanders and brought
I
back
really
Malcolm
liked
Jenkins.
that. I really liked that signing for him because now you actually have a legit number 2.
Yeah.
Next to Michael Thomas, who got triple teamed and still had 150 catches.
I feel like if Emmanuel Sanders can stay healthy, he's going off this year because there's no way people are not double teaming Michael Thomas. And Emmanuel Sanders in one-on-one, I'll take that almost every time against your second corner.
I just don't think he's a really good player.
So, damn, and they got their first rounder this year. After last year, they didn't have one.
We mocked him. Neville Gallimore, the defensive tackle from Oklahoma. He's just a guy who, I mean, like I said, I don't think you can ever have enough pass rush. I think he helps there because offensively,
I get that he's a 300-pound defensive tackle.
I don't even know that they draft anybody on offense this year. Maybe not until like they couldn't even. They might not even draft another guy unless it's another receiver in the first round or in any of their draft picks. They don't have any draft picks anyways.
They'll probably take a wide receiver at some point in the draft. But yeah, I think they're going to load up on defense, which is already really freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they might have the best roster in the NFL.
It's definitely up there. I mean, if they can still keep getting a bunch of production out of Drew Brees.
Got a secret weapon in Taysom Hill.
Yeah, you still got that guy.
Secret.
Yeah, no, he's not a secret anymore. He's pretty much unlocked, but yeah, I mean, the Saints, I mean, they're going to be right back there again year after year in this division. I know it got a little bit tougher.
I would not be surprised if they go 13-3 again.
I wouldn't either. I mean,
I think they get the first place seed in the NFC next year.
Their offensive line's really good. Their receiving core is even better now. I think they probably could use another guy in the backfield outside of Kamara because I'm not a huge Latavius Murray fan. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know. They really don't have any holes. So they're going to be right back here. I think they gave Malcolm Jenkins a little bit too much money, but he's also a guy who can play sub linebacker.
And he's played there before.
Yeah, so that's where he started his career.
Exactly.
Won a Super Bowl with
them
in 2009 as a rookie. So, yeah, I mean, there's not really that much to say about the Saints, honestly. They're going to be there. Yeah, exactly. Take whoever you think is exactly
the best player because you don't have that many holes.
Yeah,
and
BPA.
I think I don't want to give it away either. I don't even know fully yet what my pick is, but I might lean Saints.
Because you got to wait for the schedule release. I like to look at that and see where they play teams and where their bye is and shit like that. And obviously want the draft to see who they added, but before we do like a season outlook. But the Saints, I have no reason to believe that they're not going to be a really good team next year.
Next, Bucks.
We'll go to the Falcons next because the Falcons actually finished second in this division. They had the tiebreaker over Tampa. They finished 7-9. After starting off 1-7, so they went 6-2 down the stretch. Actually, surprisingly, decided that they remembered that they had a lot of good players on their team. Like Jane, I thought they were going to go like 12-4 last year.
We had so much faith in them last year,
and I kept picking them to win every game. I mean, a lot of those games they
lost.
We're
going to be off of them this year, and they're going to fuck shit up.
I just told you like 5 minutes ago. I think I'm going to talk myself into them again being a really good team because I want to because they're so talented. They got Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley. They just signed Gurley, whatever he's got left. And their 2 rookie offensive linemen should be a lot better this year. Lindstrom and McGarry. I'm assuming they're going to be a lot better players. They traded for Hayden Hurst, who, from everything I'm reading, he loves this Falcons offense. He thinks it's a lot better suited for what he can do opposed to Baltimore's. Defensively, I think they've got some work. We got him picking C.J. Henderson at corner. That's a big need for him as corner. I think safety's another
Especially
need.
After losing Trufant.
They signed Dante Fowler, which helps their pass rush.
He's an upgrade over Vic Beasley for sure.
They lost Devondre Campbell, so I think they could use another linebacker.
He was solid at best. He wasn't that great.
No, he wasn't a star, but he was a starter for them.
But they do need to replace
4 or 5 years.
For sure. I'm just saying I think he's easily replaceable.
I agree. They've got 6 total picks, a 1, 2, 3, 2 4s, and a 7. So they've got 5 picks, 5 of their 6 picks are in the first 4 rounds, which they can easily improve their team. Like I said, we got him taking a corner at 16. I think that's a big need, especially with the Saints just add Emmanuel Sanders, the Buccaneers having the 2 stud receivers that they have.
And the Lions have 2 good receivers. It's just their third is not very good.
You mean the Panthers?
Yes. Actually, I was thinking. I was back on the NFC.
The Lions have 2 decent receivers too, but yeah, they're not in that division.
But the Panthers got the speedsters. They got DJ Moore underneath, and then Curtis Samuel.
And they just signed
top,
Teddy Bridgewater, so their QB plays improved.
And didn't they just sign Robbie Anderson?
Yes, which I didn't really understand why they did that, but anyways,
I don't either. But that's another receiver. For him.
Agreed. So the Falcons, I don't think they have that much. I mean, I know they finished 7-9, but I think they were better than a 7-9 team.
Well,
I might talk myself into them winning the division this year again, Jay. I might do it. I don't know.
No, I will not take them over the Saints, especially after they fucked me last year.
I might. I don't know. I just like a lot of things about.
But
their
I do
roster.
like their upside.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, they should be in a win now mode with Matt Ryan, but Matt Ryan hasn't really shown any sign that he's declining anytime soon. I think he's still got a solid 5-6 years left. He's
going for like 4,000, almost 5,000 yards every single season.
He's fine. The receiving core is fine.
Yeah.
Offensive line should be improved after this year. Running back.
We'll see what Gurley has left in him.
I don't know what he has left either, but he's still better than, to me, Devontae Freeman was last year. They could always draft one too.
And if they're really worried about a running back, I think they're middle of the pack in the second round. Maybe a guy like J.K. Dobbins is there mid-second round, or
Jonathan Taylor might be there.
Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Swift. I don't know where these running backs are going to go. They could be there.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire could be there for him.
Yeah, there's another one. I think he would be really good in that offense, actually. He would be really good in that offense.
I think,
he's like a younger, better version of Devontae Freeman. I don't
put
care.
The tape on. The dude
Go watch him play when they played Alabama. He was really good in that game.
Agreed. I kept calling him Baby Zeke.
Yeah.
By the way he was playing.
He was really good in that game. So that's actually, I like that fit for him.
So someone there, and then defensively, you can find other players to fit.
Another corner, another safety. As I always say, you can never have enough pass rush. I think you can add some guys there, but
I don't think the roster is good enough to tell you they're going to be better than the Saints, but I think they will finish second in the division.
Okay. So we'll go to the third team in that division, the Buccaneers. They finished 7-9 last year. We talked about the Brady signing. We've got him taking Javon Kinlaw in the first round. They've still got about $25 million in space. Well, they
did just re-sign Sue.
So I don't know if they take Kinlaw anymore in the first round.
I'm skeptical about that pick now as well, because they basically bring back their entire defensive line from last year.
And I know he only signed a 1-year deal, but I mean, now that you're in win
Brady,
now mode,
exactly.
you think you got 2 years left. We'll see what they do, because I don't know. Maybe they
don't need a receiver.
Maybe they take offensive line there if one of those top guys is available.
What pick
they could easily take another corner, 14.
14.
They could be the team that steals C.J. Henderson away from the Falcons at 14. They could take an Xavier McKinney at safety, or whoever they value there at corner. I don't know. I think they need big secondary help. Shit, I think they could take another linebacker, because Devin White's a really good player, but Levante David's aging. And so I don't know.
After they re-signed Sue, I think in our mock, if I had to pick, I would take the top tackle available if one of them was there.
Yeah.
But actually in ours,
weren't
all four
Andrew,
elite guys.
And the way we did our mock, I think Andrew Thomas went 15 to the Broncos.
Okay, and if that was the case, I would switch my pick to Andrew Thomas going to the Buccaneers.
Yes, he went 15th in the way how we went through.
Seriously, fuck our mock up. So,
yeah. But we'll probably have to redo that now anyways. But it is what it is. That's what you got to do every time. They change. So
if it were me and you playing GM, like we like to put ourselves in these shoes, I would take the best offensive tackle available if one of those four were there.
I am too.
I would not reach for Austin Jackson or Josh Jones, but I would take one of the top elite offensive tackles.
One of those four guys, if they're there, I would take that, because you have to protect, especially Tom at this age.
If not, I'm going defensive.
I'm going corner. If
safety.
If one of those top four tackles isn't available, I'm taking C.J. Henderson, because I think he's the next best corner. And to me, I don't think Xavier McKinney is the 14th best player in this draft. And shit, you might even be able to get a guy like Grant Delpit in the second round, because he's slipped down a lot. I still think he can play.
I think he still goes in the first round. I think people think he's slipping, but I do think he still goes. They're going to throw on that sophomore tape and just be like, we can get that guy.
Because if he would have been eligible to come out after his sophomore year, he'd have been a top 10 pick.
Exactly.
Because he was that good.
And coaches believe they can get that guy back. So for whatever reason why his play dropped last year, that sophomore tape was that good that I still think
his sophomore tape was really, really good.
In the first round.
And I mean, LSU definitely didn't have that great of a defense last year all the way through. So, I mean, that could help but the Bucs defense sucks. So you think the Buccaneers finish third in this division still? You think they're still the third best
I
team?
am not on Tom on this offense. I think it's a horrible fit.
Agreed.
I think Belichick carried that man. I think that his arm, for whatever you want to say, when the Buccaneers said we watched all the film and didn't see a decline and all this shit.
I think they're fucking lying.
They are, because it declined. He's not the same as he once was. Yeah, his offensive weapons got better. He's not going to have a run game, and his defense is not going to be anywhere near what it was in New England. So all this
they had the number one defense last year.
And fucking Skip Bayless picked them to win the NFC next year and represent them in the Super Bowl.
Of course. I don't know why you listen to him anymore. I can't listen to that man.
Pisses me off every time I listen. But
I love Shannon Sharp, but I cannot listen to him.
So
absolutely refuse to listen to anything. I've unfollowed every Fox thing on Twitter because I can't stand him or Cowherd.
I think the difference, I know Belichick wants to prove he could do it without Brady. I know Brady wants to prove that he could do it without Belichick. Difference is one guy relies on his physical needs that are deteriorating. The other guy relies on his brain, and that's all he needs to do.
Only getting stronger.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not like he's getting stupider
Another
over the years.
Guess of mine, prediction, Patriots will easily finish with a better record than the Buccaneers next year, regardless of who's at quarterback. I don't even care if they start Jarrett Stidham. They will finish better than the Buccaneers do.
I like it. I mean, I love the offensive weapons that the Bucs have, but I got
downfield guys.
I got into an argument with somebody on Twitter. They were saying that they believe, or Bruce Arians thinks he's got a Super Bowl roster. The only thing holding them back last year was the turnovers. But I was like, one of the reasons why the Bucs offense was so successful was because they had a quarterback who pushed the ball down the field with these receivers. Tom's never done that in his career except for one season with Randy fucking Moss, who's in the top 2 or 3 receiver of all time, however you want to judge them. That was it. That was the only year he consistently pushed the ball down the field because he had a guy who ran a 4.3 at 6'5".
And could jump like Calvin Johnson.
Yes.
So I'm sorry to tell you, yeah, he's got Mike Evans, who is a jump ball guy, but he doesn't have that.
He's not a 4.3 guy.
He's not Randy Moss.
No, absolutely not even close.
It's not going to be the same.
I just don't like this fit. I mean, we hammered this to death a few weeks ago when we talked about this trade or this signing for him. It's just he's 43 years old, had like the worst season of his career. Why on earth would you think he's getting any better?
I don't know, but if we're playing GMs and trying to figure out how they can make it as far as they possibly can,
you got to protect them.
Yep. Upgrade that offensive line with your draft pick and if someone's there.
You've got to get him a running back because he has had running backs for his entire career that have caught 80 balls every single season. And he doesn't really have – Ronald Jones isn't really that guy, and neither is – who the fuck?
Not yet. Maybe he
Peyton Barber?
No, Peyton Barber just signed somewhere else
okay, well, they don't even – or another running back.
He got
a have him.
2-year, $3 million deal.
Damn.
Yeah.
He is rolling in cash.
And he's rolling with a lot more than I fucking got, I'll tell you
true.
that.
Yeah, I'll never see that much money in my life.
But in reference to NFL contracts, he just signed for not very much.
Nothing, basically. Yeah, but I don't think Ronald Jones is that guy. I don't think he's going to become that guy. He was a better player last year than his rookie season because he almost got cut after training camp his rookie season. But I still don't think he's that type of player in that offense.
To upgrade
so they need somebody like that.
And running back.
Yeah. And they really don't have a slot guy that Brady's used to.
Everybody's saying trade for Edelman. Fucking.
I'm telling you, Belichick is not doing that.
Exactly.
Belichick is not helping Tom Brady out. It is not happening.
He'll probably tell him, yeah, give me that first.
Or that. Yeah. Give me a first and a third.
Then you can have this little motherfucker.
Exactly.
But unless you're coming at me with that.
Who nobody wanted on the open market about 2 years ago. But I mean, he did win Super Bowl MVP, which he shouldn't have, because it should have went to Stephon Gilmore that Super Bowl. But anyways, fuck Edelman
and Brady
that's all
and the Patriots.
That's all I have to say about that one.
Everybody associated with them fucks.
All right, let's go to the last team in the division, the Panthers, who I don't really love all the things they're doing this offseason. They're kind of confusing. I like the Teddy Bridgewater signing. I don't necessarily like that they just flat out cut Cam Newton and didn't trade him for anything, because I feel like they could have got something for him. I didn't really understand the Robbie Anderson signing. I didn't understand the Russell Okung trade.
They're making moves that contradict themselves.
Exactly.
They're making moves that say, on one hand, they're saying, we're tanking, we want Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, we want
on the other hand, we want to win right now.
Yeah, some of the stuff.
I guess they wouldn't even say we want Trevor Lawrence because they signed Teddy Bridgewater. So they no longer really need Trevor
they gave him
Lawrence.
3 years, 60. He's making $30 million a year.
Granted, I believe...
Or like 27 or something.
Trevor Lawrence is better than Teddy Bridgewater. I think almost everybody would say that. But what I'm saying is when you give Teddy Bridgewater that money and that contract, you no longer need him.
Well, and I don't think they'll be bad enough to even be
Exactly.
in the top. And because I think they'll be a little bit better than 5-11 than they were last year. I could see them winning 6 or 7 games next year. I still don't think they're that good. But, I mean, they won 5 games with Kyle Allen at quarterback and Will Grier, your boy.
You know what's weird? After this year, who is the top 2 quarterbacks are going to be Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence coming out next year.
Yep.
We would suspect. Are there even 2 teams that are in desperate need of quarterback that will be in play for one next year?
If the Bears
Lions still have Stafford.
If the Bears are really that bad,
but they have Foles on their 3-year deal, but they're paying that motherfucker.
I know.
So they might not be in that market. I mean, you can't pass up on him, but
no. I
Panthers just signed Teddy Bridgewater.
I think the Lions should be in that situation.
But if they stick
won't.
with Stafford,
I don't think they will trade Stafford. That's just what I would do. I don't think they do it.
So, like, what teams are going to – Jacksonville will probably be there.
Probably, yeah.
But
I don't even know if they'll be – I mean, they might be that bad.
So, imagine the QB3 next year, how far he could slide. Because all these teams are invested in quarterbacks.
I mean, I could see a team like Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh will be that bad. I think they'll be good. But maybe they're a team that wants to trade into that. I don't know if they want to give up that many picks. They'd probably have to go up a lot. The Colts – I don't think the Colts will be that bad, but I mean, they're a team that maybe could use some draft capital to go back up to the top because Philip Rivers doesn't have that long left. And
he's on a 1-year deal.
You're more into that signing than I was, but they're a team that needs a long-term solution at quarterback, and Phil Rivers isn't that guy.
Yeah, that just came to me when I was sitting here thinking, like,
it's teams with old quarterbacks.
Yeah, maybe the Chargers if they don't draft one
at
6 this year.
If they don't draft Herbert at 6, yeah.
But then what if they sign Cam to like a 3-year deal?
Because
they'll be out of the market.
Because they won't be that bad with Cam. Because
So
I'm telling you, I think Cam's going to fuck some shit up this year. I really believe that. I want him to go.
Where he goes,
I want him to go to the Chargers because I think he could be awesome with the Chargers.
I think
I'm rooting for Cam hard this year. I've always been a Cam fan. I don't like some of the stuff he does off the field, but it is what it is. But I've always been a fan of his play on the field.
We just kind of went off on a tangent, but
yeah, we did. The Panthers. Okay, so they own the 7th pick. We had them taking Isaiah Simmons because they lost Luke Kuechly and James Bradbury, Eric Reed, Vernon Butler, Greg Olsen.
And I'm not calling Isaiah Simmons Luke Kuechly, but
No.
they saw how valuable that type of playmaker was on defense. So
I mean, he's the only guy out of the defensive line who'd won Defensive Player of the Year in a really long time, except for this year with Stephon Gilmore, because it was really J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, Khalil Mack. All these guys were winning Defensive Player of the Year, but Luke Kuechly was the outlier because he was just that damn good. And Isaiah Simmons is probably the best defensive player besides Chase Young in this draft.
Derek Brown's up there that they're comparing. Like they're saying, there's not that big of a drop off. Jeff Okudah is a solid.
That's true. I guess I'm thinking more of front 7 guys. I'd say. Okay, you could take your pick, however you view him.
Either
Okudah,
way, he's an
Young,
elite player.
Simmons, one of those guys.
An elite prospect.
But I think he changes their defense because I mean, you pair him with a guy like Shaq Thompson, who's very similar player, not as good, but I mean, he's a converted safety to linebacker who's a 4-5 guy who can fly all over the field, and it's just
and I like their weapons on offense.
I love their weapons on offense.
And like you said, they got Okung. They traded away Trey Turner.
Yeah, which again, I think they did a lot of that because Turner's contract's longer than Okung, because I think Okung comes off after next year. But yeah, I could see him even taking him offensive tackle there at 7 if one of them's available. I could see him doing that, or Simmons or Derek Brown. They've got a lot of options they can take there at 7. So
they need to upgrade their defense.
Yeah, their defense is going to be trash.
Yep.
Their defense
Especially
is going to be really
losing
bad.
Your defensive guy and inserting an offensive guy.
And I think they need another corner. I think they need most positions on the offensive line. What do you do with McCaffrey? I know that a lot of people have talked about, do they extend him? Do they try and trade him? Do they get one more year out of him and then trade him? Because next year, he's probably going to hold out over the offseason if he doesn't get paid after next season.
And again, there's no better time to trade McCaffrey than right now.
Agreed.
With what he's been doing. He's stayed healthy. I think you might, because the offense that they're trying to run, I feel like might be better suited for a bigger between the tackles runner instead of someone that Teddy Bridgewater just dumps off the ball to, because you have a lot of underneath receivers already and they just weren't utilizing them the way they should, in my opinion. So like when you got a guy like DJ Moore or Curtis Samuel to throw it underneath to speed guys that can take the ball the distance, yes, I get that McCaffrey might be the best running back we've ever seen out of the backfield. He might be.
Yeah, that's arguable.
But they're not winning right now.
Marshall Falk and LaDainian Tomlinson would like something
I
to
said
say
might
about
be.
that.
I agree with you 100%. There's guys to make arguments, but he's got to be in the conversation.
I mean, he's had like 100 catches 2 straight seasons. He's
Yeah.
basically a slot receiver.
So
But he is actually pretty good between the tackles anyways.
you're
Keep
never
going.
going to get more than you could right now for McCaffrey.
I think they wait
still
one more
young.
year, and I think they honestly trade him. I don't think they re-sign this guy long term.
New coaching staff. They
Yeah,
might-
we haven't even talked about that Matt Rule hire ever. Do you like it?
I do.
I do too, actually. I
So-
think he can be successful.
I do too. And the way that the NFL's moving, he might be better suited for that Panthers team than Rivera was. And I like Rivera. I think he's
Agreed.
going to turn around the Redskins and have them better than they've been in a long, long
He
time.
it was just time to go. It needed to change.
Yep.
They got rid of Cam. They got
Think
rid of
McCarthy
Rivera.
in Green Bay.
It's a
just
whole new regime there
Yep.
in Carolina. I mean,
Andy
David
Reid in
Tepper.
Philadelphia. Sometimes, like
Yep.
good coaches, they've just served their welcome, and it's time to go try something new.
Absolutely. It happens quite often, actually. It happens a lot. So I agree with that. But I like the Matt Rule hire, too. I think he'd be successful. Everything you hear about him, he's a
They brought in Joe
fantastic
Brady.
guy. He's a great leader. He's worked in the NFL before. It's not like he's never had a job there. He was an offensive line coach with the Giants, I believe it was. He turned around Baylor in like a year after that program was in shambles because of Art Briles. So I'm a fan of that. It's just not really sure what all their moves, how much they made sense. But I think they can improve. I think this division will be pretty competitive. I think every team in this division will at least win 7 games.
I don't agree with that. I think the Panthers will win 5 or 6.
Okay, so it's not off.
And I think the Buccaneers are going to be right there, 6-7 wins as well.
I agree. I don't think they're going to be that good. I think their offense will honestly decline mightily. I think they were a top 3 offense. I don't even know if they'll be a top 10 offense anymore.
Yeah,
because of
no argument.
because of that. So, but my guy Jameis is getting a lot of hate on the open market right now.
I tried telling you.
Amen. Yeah, I think Cam is too. I'd like to see where those two guys
Well,
go.
For what it's
I mean,
worth,
Cam just got released yesterday, so I know.
And a lot of teams already did what they wanted to at quarterback. I think if Cam would have been a free agent at the beginning of free agency when everybody else was, his interest would have definitely been a lot higher, and he probably would have already signed by now.
Do you think there's any chance Cam goes to New England?
No.
I don't either.
He's not a Belichick
No,
guy.
I agree with that. I've seen a lot of that where
And the
Belichick's
system
going
they
to get
run
Cam
just
and
does not fit what Cam does best.
McDaniels would develop an offense for Cam.
Probably.
I mean, he developed an offense for Brady. I mean, really, honestly, the offense has been the same for 20 years, so I think McDaniels gets a little bit too much credit.
Agreed, and I did say
I think
that they were going
Belichick's
to
got
draft
his. I think
Jalen Hurts.
Belichick does have his hand in that offense everywhere.
He has,
Belichick
yes,
did.
he has his hand in everything.
Yeah, so it's not a surprise that the offense has been very similar for 20 years. But all right, there you go. So that's we've hit all 8 divisions. So if we missed your team, or I guess if you haven't listened to that, go back and check it out. We've done every single division. Go listen to our mock. That was the previous podcast that we did. Jay and I ran through all 32 teams. I'm sure we'll probably do another one soon. Maybe not on
We have
here,
to.
but we'll just do it, just the 2 of us, and we'll share it on our Facebook page.
It'll
or
probably
Twitter,
be a lot closer
Instagram
to
or
draft
something.
day. I don't want to do like 5 mocks.
No, I don't like doing
Once
that
a
many.
few more of these
I
big
just kind
name
of like
free
doing them in
agents
my
sign.
head and
Yeah.
things like that. But when putting pen to paper or typing it and shit like that, I don't do a million. But anyways, all right, we'll get out of here on that. As always, subscribe to us anywhere, Facebook or Twitter. I mean, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Unwanted Opinions with Nick and Jay. Subscribe on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. Leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. It takes like 2 minutes. You can get that done. Really helps Jay and I out. You can send us an email at unwantedopinionspodcast@gmail.com. You got questions, you got comments, anything. If you want to hit us up, you know where to find us.
Until next time, Nick.
Until next time.